All right. We are live
We are.
indeed.
Takes a little bit, but the lag piece between us and the stream.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. I believe, yeah, we are.
Episode 73, man. It's the one right after 72.
I swear I can count. Welcome in, guys. This is episode 73 of the update log. Glad to have you guys back. I'm Rob, your host, and this is Greg, my co host. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? It's almost Saturday. Well, it is almost Saturday. I meant to say it's almost Halloween. Just one more
Ow.
day.
Ow. Almost Saturday. Where did that come from anyway?
I don't know. I meant to say almost Halloween, but I said almost Saturday. Yeah, it's almost Halloween. Hence the topic of discussion for tonight. We're going to be focusing on fear and horror and all the bloody, gory, creepy shit in video games. Both, in video games and in TTRPGs, because both of those, in my experience, have, especially as I have become an adult, have elicited the most in terms of genuine fear from me. It's not movies or TV shows anymore. When I was a kid, things like Poltergeist and Nightmare on Elm Street, like the movies and stuff like that, scared me. Right now, nowadays, nah, they're actually kind of boring. I haven't seen it. Then you turn on, yeah, yeah. They don't scare me no more. Then you turn on a game like Phasmophobia or like Silent Hill 2 remake, which we're going to be talking about tonight. And for those of you who ever played a Silent Hill game, you know what I'm talking about. Um, that game, that whole world did psychological horror right. And I'm glad to see there have been some games out there that have picked it up. Alan Wake is one of them. It's got that kind of psychological horror mixed into it. But yeah, let's talk about that. Greg,
Yes.
are you a horror fan?
Absolutely.
Both, in whatever medium, games, TV shows,
How
whatever the
could I
case.
not be a horror fan? I mean, Alien, Smorum. I mean,
Fair, fair.
Best
Well,
in.
see, that's the thing about it. I've never actually viewed the Alien movies as horror. I don't know. It never clicked for me. Like
Really?
I don't think I always saw them as thrillers, not necessarily horror.
Okay, so we gotta back up for just a moment here. So, what is your definition of horror? Just so I can wrap my head around this, because
Okay, all right. But before I answer that, we're actually going to go to the American Psychology Association and
oh
get
boy,
their definition of fear. Um, so, fear is defined as a basic, intense emotion aroused by the detection of imminent threat, involving an immediate alarm reaction that mobilizes the organism by triggering a set of physiological changes.
sounds like love.
Don't it? um, actually, before we also continue, anybody in the audience right now, um, how's our audio? So we're having some audio issues. Uh, last time issues. You hearing any echoing or reverb or anything like that?
I think it
Please
should be
let us
fine.
know. Okay, just wanted to double
I
check.
think it should be fine.
All right, so my definition of fear.
Awesome, Foxy. Thank you. I did turn both volumes on, so you get a little. There was a little bit of reverb there for a second. Oh wow. Okay, hold on. I'll drag him back. Stay in his seat.
All
All right, you're
right,
gonna have to start over that with that.
think
You're
I'm
gonna
back.
start over with that explanation of fear
Oh,
or
do I
horror.
have to
Horror. Yeah, yeah,
horror? Okay.
yeah.
So I guess for me, the definition of horror for me personally,
Not horror. Horror.
um, I said horror. All right, don't make fun of me. I know I have an accent sometimes. Um, I don't know. I guess it's something that makes that lizard brain, that that primal part of my particular psyche go like, okay, well, either I'm gonna have to fight this shit or I'm gonna have to run. I guess that's kind of my definition of horror. So
Wow. Now it
it
sounds like
boils boy.
marriage.
You trying to tell us something, Greg? um, but yeah, so that's my. What's your definition of horror? And the audience as well. For this question goes out to all you guys. Like, what's y'all's definition of horror?
Well, I think.
Hey, welcome in, Bird
Hey,
Dishes.
Berdacious, how you doing, buddy? Um, yeah. Let me. Well, okay. Definition of horror. I'm not sure I have a real definition of horror. I mean, it's just if it's something that can surprise me, um, like that shock value and
Hmm.
scary shock value. Um, like the first time the alien jumps out and kills somebody or something like that. Um,
Hmm.
Foxy's got a definition. I'm going to read her definition because I think hers is probably better than mine. Um, my definition. So she says my definition of horror is anything that makes me want to hide under the covers so the monsters can't get me. I can agree with that. I can agree with that. I was
Okay, I have a
definitely.
question
Go ahead.
to piggyback off of that after you're done.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, I was definitely one of those kids with the, monster in a closet or under the bed sort of thing. So that's at night. If, you wake up in the night and you got to go to the bathroom, it was always, I want to jump as far away from the bed as I can and move as quickly as I can. And just, because I know that whatever the hell it
That
is
sounds
under
gonna
there.
grab you.
Right, right.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I think we've all had that. I wonder where that actually came from, the monster hiding underneath the bed kind of piece. I'm sure there's like a societal or kind of a, I don't want to get too sciencey here, but like an archaeological societal thing attached to that. But maybe we can get into that later on in the episode. But one of the things I wanted to ask Foxy is, so you said, you want to hide underneath your covers until the monsters can't get you. Do you cover your feet at night with the blankets? So like if your feet are sticking out of the blanket, can you not sleep? Blanket force field. Okay, so yeah, you cover your feet. All right, yeah. I ain't gonna lie, did you? I can't like fall asleep. Your feet don't stick out from the bottom of the blanket. Yeah, I can't do that either. I ain't gonna lie. I'm going on 37. I still cover my feet up. I can't. It's just unnerving. If your feet are like if I wake up and my feet are uncovered, I'm all right. But like if I'm
Hey,
trying to
my
get to sleep and my feet are sticking out,
my feet are important, man. I need those.
yeah, because it's like basically if your feet are uncovered, you're inviting them to reach up and grab your feet.
You are.
It's
You
just
are. And the
it
closet door, I
is what it
agree,
is.
Foxy. The closet door has to be closed.
So I
Be.
can't run without your
Or,
feet.
the secret to that is you just take all the closet doors off. You don't have any closet doors.
True. True.
And you
Okay.
cannot run without your feet. She says no to that. She doesn't want to take all the closet doors off.
Yeah, no, I can't. I can't go like I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, having the closet doors off can be unnerving because like you wake up and you see like a shadow or you think you see a shadow, and if your closet has no doors, could be staring back at you.
I know you from your former residence. I mean, your
Yes,
closet doors are always open.
it was always wide open.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I got used to it, but there were some times where I woke up in the middle of the night and I'm like staring into the closet like, what the fuck is that? But with that in mind, um, let's continue. So there are a couple of games that we want to want to kind of dive into. Uh, what you call it, Silent Hill 2 or the Silent Hill franchise as a whole, kind of be a part of that. Um, Anyone here played Silent Hill at all or know anything about Silent Hill?
I have not played Silent Hill. Um, so yeah, I know some about it, but I've never actually played it. I don't know. It never really seemed like my type of game, you know. But I know a lot of people love it.
Sorry,
I'm in the
my
same boat, Foxy. I've never played it, but I know a bit about it. I've watched some movies based off of that concept of Silent Hill.
welcome in, Guardian Groot.
Hey, Groot, how are you?
Uh,
Nice to have you in tonight.
yeah, but okay. So I remember playing the original Silent Hill games 1 and 2 way back in the day. Um, yeah, yeah. So Silent Hill was one of my first horror games that I've ever played, and again, I'm a kid. I'm 10, 11 at the time, and holy shit, I can't believe my mom let me play that shit. Because the just the so again, for those of you who've never played Silent Hill, I mean definitely goes off the psychological horror piece in the genre. So it's not so much gory or anything like that. Although there's a little bit of that. It's more akin to the human psyche and the thematic horror aspect of the game, of the horror genre as a whole. Um, and the remake definitely holds true to the original. The aspect of one of the major aspects with regards to kind of the Silent Hill piece, especially two, is the fog. So when you go to the town of Silent Hill as the main character, there's this prevailing fog that exists and comes and goes throughout the entirety of your playthrough.
Hey,
And
fog is just creepy shit. I
oh,
gotta
it
say,
is. I mean,
fog is
there have been so many, I mean, movies and games created that have an aspect of some fog thing. I mean,
there's been
didn't
so
you? Yeah,
yeah,
go, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
there's been so many movies called titled The Fog or From the Fog or something
Yeah,
like that. I mean, we even have a game
well,
concept about fog.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, the movie The Fog or Stephen King's book The Mist, I think it
The
was, that got
Mist.
turned into a movie.
Hmm.
Um, which, by the way, go watch it. It's weird.
It's good.
It's weird. I'm not gonna say it was scary because, again, as an adult, I haven't seen very many movies that legitimately frighten me.
So all right,
But
giant monsters biting people in half is not scary, or something with tentacles like grabbing you and ripping flesh off of you. That's not scary. Or having a bunch of alien looking spiders lay their eggs inside of you. That's not scary. Um,
I mean, okay, so how do I put this? There is an element of fear to it for sure, but it's not like the jump scare or the pull the covers over myself kind of scare. Again, it's like a thriller aspect to it for me.
that beast with the tentacles, I don't think the covers are going to save you from that. I just don't.
Probably not. Probably not.
Force field or no, it's just not going
Yeah,
to happen.
yeah. I think Foxy. I think yeah. I think for me, a lot of like the movies and stuff like that, like the movies and TV shows, I can make them worse in my head than they actually appear on screen. But it, video games for me are the one, and then a good storytelling piece, from a TTRPG, like a good DM who can kind of set that theme. Um,
Dead Space.
and I think the reason why TV shows and like horror movies and stuff don't frighten me, like genuinely frighten me. Like that might be a jump scare here or two, but like the majority of the movie, I'm like, okay, it is what it is because, in a movie or a TV show, you're a third person, like kind of going along for the ride. Whereas in a game, or whether it's a TTRPG, whether you're like it's a TTRPG session or a video game, you're actively controlling the character, so you're kind of stepping into that role, stepping into the driver's seat of that scenario. So it's a little bit more, for me anyway, it's a little bit more
So you don't get into movies that way?
nah, nah.
Wow. How about books?
Books, yeah, books, I will. I do. I don't read a lot of horror stuff. I read some Stephen King. I've read some Stephen King stuff, but none of it, really none of his horror work. Um, I don't know. I guess after a certain point, I got to that point where I was like, oh, okay, this is all fake. you know, I don't know. Again, I don't know what it is. Where a video game, like perfect example, where a video game, and to a degree, maybe in this aspect, the show was the last. Was it
Oh,
The Last of Us.
oh. I'm sorry, but Foxy brought it. Event Horizon was just that
Okay,
was
that
a
one.
freaky freaking
Th-
movie.
that
Absolutely.
one will do it. That one will do
Yeah.
it. Yes, Event Horizon is, yeah. That one's one of them. That, okay. That will, I haven't seen,
I went
especially
and
because I haven't
watched
seen it in
I
years.
went and watched that in the theater when it came out. I went and watched it by myself, not knowing what
Oh
to
yeah,
expect. Yeah, yeah, that actually creeped me out pretty good. That was
yeah,
exciting.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, okay. Event Horizon. That's that. I think, okay. I think now I'm starting to understand why traditional jump scare movies don't frighten me. Is because the jump scare doesn't scare me. Because the difference between Event Horizon and like we'll say, um, like Nightmare on Elm Street, or Friday the 13th or whatever. Those are more jump scare kind of deals. Even though they do a good bit of adding the thematic fear elements, the unnerving music, the all that stuff. I think the psychological stuff is what really gets me. Exactly, Foxy.
it
Is
it
Oh
de-
yeah, Guardian Group Phasmophobia. We're gonna get into that here. That is one of the games that the first time but this was years. This is back when it really first came out, and I was playing with a friend of mine, and I got killed by the ghost for the first time. I like basically, and then the camera pans out, and you get to see yourself basically get choked out and choke yourself out with because of the ghost. And then like you're dead, so your ghost is floating around, and you get to see that fucker, floating around and shit like that.
it's a
That
pucker.
was
Yes, it
unnerving.
is.
Oh yeah. Pucker factor is real, especially because for me the most unnerving thing is having the radio, calling out to it. I always hated when that fucker responded. It's like, don't fucking talk to me. Granted, I used to curse out the ghost quite a bit. I ain't gonna lie. Um, I used to egg that shit on. Ah, but anyway,
That's another game I've never actually. I don't think I've ever actually played Phasmophobia, but I've watched plenty of other people play it. Um,
gotcha.
and yeah, it's creepy. It's pretty cool though. I mean, it's cool wandering around trying to figure out, okay, where's this ghost at? What's going on? What kind of ghost is it? Um,
Mm.
when one of the people that I like watching one of the people that's on tonight play because he's pretty awesome with Phasmophobia and he dies a lot, so that's entertaining to me.
All right, so Guardian Groot, Rodicious. Have you guys played Phasmophobia lately? I haven't, unfortunately. I've kind of fallen off. I was thinking of playing it, tomorrow, but being Halloween, et cetera, yada yada. Get into the season. But have you guys played it lately? Because I know there's been a ton of like updates and things like that, with not only the studio and whatnot, which I think the studios, it's Kinetic Studio. I believe it's called. Um, oh, there's a
What's the event? Yeah.
yeah. What's the event?
You got me curious
Is it
now,
like
Brody.
it's like a Halloween themed event? I'm guessing it's like a Halloween themed event going on right now.
We should play Phasmophobia.
Should should it's a good game. Definitely blends the jump scare with the psychological aspect.
Blood points. Ooh. I can only imagine what that is.
Blood points. Oh, that sounds kind of creepy. Who do you got to get? Who do you have to get the blood from? Oh, it's get the blood moon. Huh. So do they like have they expanded the levels more? Because I remember back when I played, it was that one suburban house, and then I think the other one. Well, no, it was a suburban house. It was a school, and it was like the farmhouse.
I,
The school and the farmhouse were creepy as fuck. Like, especially the school. School was the worst one. Oh, they had a lighthouse.
ooh. Yeah, I think I've seen the lighthouse. I think I watched. Actually, I think I watched Brody and Groot play through lighthouse. The
Okay,
lighthouse.
nice. All right, well, shit. I might have to check that one out because I mean, it's definitely one of those games. Okay, everything's glowing red. The ghost is faster. For those of you who in the audience or who are listening after the fact, if you've never played Phasmophobia, basically boils down to you are a paranormal investigator who goes to these different locations to
The Ghost
ferry
Hunter.
out different ghosts, and it's really cool. I believe the game started out as one developer kind of developing the game, and they did their homework. They had everything from like Oni to like I think the Weeping Lady might have been one of them, like different ghosts and their types and like legends that go along with them, things like that, and how to combat them, how to call them. Even had Ouija boards in there. That shit was creepy too. The Ouija boards were weird. I don't fuck with that. um, but yeah, okay. So everything's glowing red, and the ghost is much faster. So they added a
Yeah.
lighthouse.
When you're
Go ahead.
looking around the house and then suddenly your flashlight goes out.
That happens in the game. That happens
Mm-hmm.
in the game, or the radio will crackle, shit will move. Um,
I
nah,
just think
man.
to myself, I'm like, if it were actually me there and my flashlight went out, I'm just hoping that nobody like stumbles onto me because they are definitely gonna get jacked with that flashlight.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm swinging with every fiber of my being. I don't even care if it's a ghost. If I can't hit him, I'm swinging. Okay, so Guardian Groot says they also added a ghost that you can't hide from. Oh, so you just gotta run. Nah, fuck that. Nope. I will leave. I will lock the door, go back to the van, and just sit there. I'm good. I'm all right. Mm-mm. No, sir. No, no. Which is ironic because I've always thought about this going to like haunted. Like I've never actually been. Well, no, I have been in some haunted places, but I've never actually been to like those atypical haunted areas within like a city or whatever. Um, but I've always wanted to go. And I know we're grossly off topic, but unironically,
Can we ever be grossly off topic? I
I
mean,
mean we always are. I
seriously.
think to some degree. there, one of the places I'm actually going to mention is one of the places that you do go in Silent Hill. You know, the Silent Hill games, but especially Silent Hill 2, is an insane asylum. I I will never ever walk into an insane asylum, like especially like haunted ones or like decommissioned ones. No, I don't know why people do it. No, just no, hell no. That's if you guys can talk to the guy who's creating Phasmophobia, he needs to add one of those. Insane asylum. That shit would be creepy.
Big, really big insane asylum with multiple ghosts in it. Adrenaline junkie, yes, absolutely. That's the thing about Phasmophobia is it definitely has that shock value to it, and it's easy to kind of get into that game and feel like you're right there. Even though I've never played it, I feel like I'm right there next to the whoever's character I'm happen to be watching.
Yeah. Fortitious says, I'm not scared. Worst case, I get possessed. Maybe the demon can help me fix some shit. You mean the demon help you exercise some of your own demons? Okay. So follow the Tennessee Wraith Chasers going into haunted asylums. There was a show called Haunted Asylum. Huh, okay. I never heard or seen this show. I'm gonna have to check it out. I don't know. Yeah, see, that's one of the things that you always wonder about a lot of these shows. Like, are they genuine? Like, are these places actually haunted, or are they like, using VFX and shit to liven things up? I always wondered.
Well, just think about
All right, so
how easy
good.
it is to psych yourself out in those situations. And I mean, it's
True.
it's there's got to be a certain element of that even with these shows. I mean, whether, is it real, is it not real? I guess that's up to the individual if it's
Oh,
real or not.
absolutely,
I mean, do you believe in ghosts?
absolutely. I do. I do.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know. I've seen too much weird shit for my 37 years not to be like, hold on, hey, there's something there. You know. But so for Guardian Groot and Berdicious, I don't know if you guys are here when I ask this question, but what's fear? Like, how do you define fear for yourself? With in relation to, I mean, we've been talking about shows and video games, so across the board, like what would you kind of call fear and horror? You know, do you and obviously you guys play Phasmophobia, but is that like the only horror game that you play, or is that your a genre that you kind of dip into and out of?
Well, I can
Again, with
say
Halloween on the horizon.
I can say that I would not be a very good Ghostbuster.
Why are you the type of person, Greg? You come up on a haunted house, the first door slam, you're like, nah, I'm fucking out of here. Goodbye.
But I don't think I'm sticking around for the first door to slam. That's just not. No. I got better things
Greg
to
gets there. He's
do.
like, what the fuck am I doing here? I'm going home.
Exactly. I might walk up in front of the house, like not even on the porch, but in front of the house, look at it and be like, no, no.
You know what? Don't blame me, man. I do not blame you. That's
I'm not
no,
that
I'm good.
interested in seeing what's in there. I think I'll pass.
Yeah, I'll pay attention to the news and see if something comes up. If you guys go missing, well, then I have my answer. Okay, so Guardian Groot says Devour is another one. That rings a bell, but I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh, okay, that one freezes your system. Horror movies and shows, I watch all of it. Me too. Me too. I like, yeah. There's just something about horror movies in particular, especially if it actually has that fear factor to it, and it's not just like jump scare shit. Like Nightmare on Elm Street. I think the early ones were not too bad, but the later ones, it's just, to me, it's almost like a weird comedy.
Yeah, and I think that that's what a lot of those got to be for me as I got older. You know, Haunting of Hill House. I believe I have. I can't remember it though.
Hill House. I gotta look that up and see if I have.
I believe I have. And Rodisha says, I don't think being startled is fear, but if it makes me feel uneasy at a point of feeling sick, I call that fear. Okay, so for you, it's not necessarily about the jump scare or the momentary thing. It's the atmosphere, the setting, that constant kind of ebb and flow of just unnerving, weird, inhuman shit that kind of goes along, and then it has its peaks and valleys and stuff. Is that what you're talking about? More
I
of like the kind of otherworldly and psychological.
mm, I have not seen that series that you're talking about, Haunting a Hill House. I see it's 2018 miniseries.
Yeah, I have
Will.
not seen it
I
either.
will
I might
though.
watch it. I might watch it.
I actually liked several seasons. American Horror Story. There's some pretty good stories in there.
Okay, I've seen one episode of American Horror Story,
One episode.
but
Oh
I
wow,
think so, and I
wow.
can't remember it.
I enjoyed the first few seasons of that. I
All right,
haven't watched like the last seasons that have come out, but
yep,
all the way up to the hotel. Um,
gotcha. All right. So my next question for you guys. So in these games that these horror games that you've played, or even in the case of shows or books, what elements of we'll start with the games, things like Phasmophobia or Silent Hill, or as Guardian Group mentioned, Devour, and any other from the horror genre. What keeps what elements of that keep you guys playing, keeps you coming back? Like, because I mean, let's be honest, being afraid isn't necessarily a comfortable emotion to have. Meanwhile, yeah, what keeps you coming back? Because I mean, clearly people enjoy, the horror genre of video games and movies and books and stuff like that. So what keeps you guys coming back? And I'll go first. For me, I think it's I take it as a challenge. Can I get through it? Can I see it through to the end? Whatever happens, even if I like, the character dies, or like the ending of the game or the book or whatever is the main character dies. It's like, can I get through it?
hmm.
Okay, it's for you. It's for Foxy says it's wondering what is around the next corner. That's fair. It's almost like a lure. It's kind of keeping you okay. Well, I survived this little thing. Like, maybe what's
Yeah, let's
if I
just
turn
keep
this corner,
going
what's
until
gonna
I don't
happen?
survive anymore, right?
I mean, yeah, that's basically what she's saying. She's like, I'm gonna keep
Whoops,
going until
shouldn't
I
have went around
die.
that corner.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to
That's
repeat?
okay, Gardening Group. Yeah. So my question was, what keeps you coming back? Whether, again, we're going to focus on games right now, but anything, whether it's games, shows, movies, books, what keeps you wanting to engage in that particular content? And again, we're going to start with the video games, as that's topic of conversation for the night. What keeps you booting back up Phasmophobia or Devour or any of the other horror games that you play? What elements within the game itself? That's a very, very good point. The monsters of Foxy Project says the monster you don't see is way scarier than the one that actually exists. That's why you check around. That's true. And oftentimes, what's the saying? I suffer more in imagination than in reality. I think that's a saying that's kind of applicable to this
Oh yeah,
particular topic.
absolutely,
We
absolutely.
invent, the monsters we invent in our head are way worse than the shit that that you'll experience.
I think most of your really good horror stories kind of function around that principle.
Mhm.
Oh, hey, thank you, Brody.
Thank you for the sub. Let's see. Yeah, thank you, buddy. Okay, so says with games, it's the fear factor, the anxiety, and anticipation. With shows, I like unexpected twists with well-tied plots. Okay. All right, so let's see. Okay. So, and one of the things that I did say was, oh, well, thank you for the gift sub,
You
Raz.
bet,
Much,
you bet.
much appreciated. Everybody's giving out subs these
I just
days.
wanted to make sure you felt appreciated, man.
Ah, I always feel appreciated. I get to spend Wednesday nights with you, man, at least for a couple of hours.
Aw, how about that?
Yep. Um, but okay, so anxiety and anticipation. Interesting. I mean, then that begs the question, both from from a personal, like an individual standpoint, and then what these game designers and developers and show creators and stuff tap into. Because again, as we were talking about, fear is not necessarily a comfortable emotion. To be afraid and unnerved and anxious is not necessarily something that we enjoy. But based on your comment, Guardian Groot, it sounds like you do.
I was gonna say, I
So
I think I think some people do enjoy, that element of the unknown, really,
mm,
more than anything else. But I mean, fear. I mean, if you didn't
yeah,
enjoy
so
it,
it's more
then why keep watching or reading
true,
or playing games that scare the shit out of you? I mean, you know,
true. So it's not necessarily the fear portion of that. It's because fear is typically attached to the unknown. So it's
well,
more of the unknown and want to explore that.
if you put it into and you put it into the psychology of games, I mean,
Mm.
and any type of media, the point is to invoke some emotion.
Yes, absolutely. And that's part of why most players, do continue to go back to these games. Even though, a lot of them, one of them being, still Wakes the Deep, which and Texas Chainsaw Massacre is, we all know
The
that one.
the ring.
The Ring, yeah. These are things that are depicting things that any normal given day we would be like, nah, fuck out of here with that shit. You know,
Primal need.
primal need. Some people seek out the dark places because either they've dealt with real darkness in life, possibly they haven't had dark. Okay, that is true. Yeah, you have some people who, have experienced some
We
unfortunate things and scary things in their life.
we could go really dark and say maybe they're just exploring their own darkness.
That is one possibility. They're saying how deep does that dark rabbit hole go? Yeah, and that's one thing that I love about games, especially when it's really well designed, like the game I just mentioned. Um, the where was it? Still Wakes the Deep. Yeah, it's by studio. Is it by? Sorry, I'm looking through my notes. Where did I write that? Anyway, I'm not gonna get lost in the sauce there. One of the elements that they were talking about creating to kind of keep that fear piece rolling, the unknown is one of the key points was ladders and doors, whereas the player, you use a ladder, nothing happens, you go through a door, nothing happens, but that's not always the case. Maybe you walk through that door, something happens on the other side and you have to go back out to leave the room, and on the way out, the door isn't, it's not a normal exit anymore. It's something. different this time. Something unnerving happens. So, which actually leads me into another story. And Greg, you'll know this because you were there for this one. And this is now we're crossing over to the TTRPG aspect of things. And it was a D&D game that I was running. So it was one of the iterations of Dungeon of the Mad Mage that I was running for a private game, where I introduced a bag of holding with a surprise, namely a creature that appeared in D&D 3.5 that reappeared in 5th edition called the Bagman.
Bagman.
The Bagman. Now I'm actually going to let you guys go Google that on your own, and maybe you use it in your games. But I did use that in a private game for Greg and some of our friends in a bag of holding. And basically, the premise of this particular character called the Bagman is that they were an adventurer who was out adventuring with their party, and things went sideways, and their party died. To protect themselves, they crawled into a bag of holding to hide.
Now, why?
And somewhere
Why
along
would you crawl into a bag of holding? I mean,
to hide. But unbeknownst to them, and this is actually a running theory, and one of the more frightening elements of D&D and like the universe and stuff like that. And if anyone's here is familiar with the planes, you'll understand why. Is because it's theorized that every bag of holding is connected to every other bag of holding via an in-between space, almost like a corridor between planes, not existing in any one spot, but a wormhole, so to speak. And this, basically what the Bagman is an adventurer who it's theorized got caught in the space between and got stuck there and changed somehow. Essentially, every bag of holding contains either that particular individual or another, because one of the elements of the Bagman is they go around and capture other adventurers and turn them into bagmen. So there could be a whole slew of bagmen out there.
So I put a poll up there to find out whether Alien is a horror story or not, Rob. And so far, Alien is a horror story. So just
I'm
FYI
no, because I'm not. I guess it's kind of like the same question of is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Which it is. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Die Hard is 100% a Christmas. Don't give me that look.
Well, the first one maybe.
The second, I'm pretty sure the second one takes place in Christmas too.
Well, a Christmas movie and a movie that happens at Christmas time. I mean,
well, the first one takes place Christmas Eve, I'm pretty sure, and the second one takes place on Christmas Day because he's stuck in the airport.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That is exactly right, Froxy. And remember, you got to leave shoes, pack of smokes, and an extra mag for John McClane in your vents. Don't forget. Especially don't forget the shoes. Oh man, but yeah. So okay, so yeah. So do you guys have any stories to tell about your time playing D&D or any of the other TTRPGs out there? They're actually, and Greg, I mean, you and I especially have sat down with quite a few creators in the TTRPG space who have created a lot of different horror themed games coming. I mean, we're putting together Symbaroum, which is a perfect example of it, and there's Vaesen, there's Call of Cthulhu. I mean, that's a classic. I guess if you want to touch on D&D, there's Ravenloft, one of the quintessential horror campaigns. Man, you have more experience with that one than I do. I said fortunately, unfortunately, because I want to experience it. I've heard of it. I've seen, I know what it's about more or less, but I've never actually played in a Ravenloft campaign.
What's the beauty of any role playing game is that you can make it into a horror story.
Yes, yeah, yeah, very, very, very easily, especially. Um, so yeah, for the audience, what's been one of your all's most memorable horror focused, times at the table, whether it's a D&D game, whether it's, one of, Call of Cthulhu or Vaesen, if you've, had the pleasure of playing that, which highly recommend it. It's by a company we've worked with before and we'll continue to work with, Free League Press. Um yeah, they have Cimarron, they have Vaesen, they have a couple of different games on offer that are more horror themed.
Hmm.
What else? Um,
Yes is the answer, by the way. 67% of the people say the Alien is a horror game, a horror story.
I mean, it is because there are fear-like elements. I can't believe now I know why I forgot Alien because I don't view Alien as like horror. I don't know. I guess it's more thriller to me. Okay, so Foxy Project says yeah, they played Alien once, enjoyed it
But
mostly
we're
because I knew going in that I was going to die, so it was about role playing to the best of my ability. Okay,
I think I
how
am
did you
gonna.
die?
Okay, I'm curious to hear this. I
Yeah,
think
I want to know how they die.
we are going to be running at least 2 Alien sessions at GaryCon 2025. Um, and Darkpawn is actually going to run those. So, and he's really good with it. Um, I don't know. I've been really seriously debating on doing another Alien stream because
Huh?
I
Okay.
liked the first one. I thought the first one was great, and I just I love that universe. It's really big. You can do anything you want with it. You made it to the escape ship.
But someone had stolen the key card. Was that someone that stole the key card on board the ship with you, or they like stole the key card and then had the the you know bad grace to fucking die with the damn thing in hand? And then,
I think that was an old man Garrus creation, by the way.
oh, okay. Did they survive as well, or did they die too? Because I'm sorry, man. You steal the key card and then yeah, you fucking die. Okay, they made it. Wait, they made it to the ship with you, and they forgot they had the key card or something.
Or they didn't trust you. They thought maybe you were infected, so they're like, "Hey, why don't you
Uh,
go look for the key card? I'll stay here." Oh,
oh, it's part of the story. Hmm. I don't know. Oh, but I'd be kind of mad. Like you had the key card this whole time. We got to the ship, and you fumbled. You fumbled. We had the finish line. We were gonna survive, and you fumbled the bag. Oh, I'd be mad. I would be mad. Uh, how you get to the ship and you have the key card and you fumble the fucking bag. For shame. For shame. Yeah. At least that's better than what Greg did to us.
what?
Motherfucker left us on the ship with the fucking xenomorph
Hey,
as captain.
I didn't let the xenomorph kill all of you. I mean, I could have.
It didn't kill Rex.
No,
He
no.
was the only one to see.
Rex survived.
He was the only one that lived. I think the rest of us were stuck on the fucking ship with the damn thing.
I don't know if he actually survived though. We'll see.
Okay. I guess we'll see if there's a part two to that. Yeah, Alien game was interesting. There've actually been a number of also Alien video games out there. I believe one of the ones that I'm thinking of. ESL Halloween event. I remember that. Remember those days, Greg?
Oh yes, I do very much. As a matter of fact, when
Yes.
I that's actually how I met Guardian Group. Is through
Ah,
ESO.
Elder Scrolls. You met a lot of people through ESL.
I did. I did.
uh, see that particular. I don't know. The game. I've heard some resurgence of the game. Obviously, they've come out with a number of expansions since we stopped playing. It lost its luster for me personally. Just
I just
not only
don't
that,
I
I
don't
just don't
have
got
that.
time.
Right, exactly. I don't have that kind of time
Yeah,
anymore to devote to. I could get
all the
sucked into
time.
that really easy, but no.
Yeah, I don't have time. But interesting. Okay. Well, hopefully you're having fun with the Halloween event, Guardian Groot. He found you trying and failing to kill things in a public dungeon. Oh no, that sounds like a skill issue, Guardian Groot.
Oh,
Gotta get
whoa.
better, man.
She's a pretty awesome player, dude. I mean,
I'm just teasing. It's okay. I predominantly played solo, so I'm used to like doing all that stuff by myself because that's how I played the game.
that's how I
It's
built.
okay. It's okay.
That's how I figured that game out is playing by myself, because there
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
point in time where it was, it was, especially if you weren't like a healer or a tank,
Mhm.
and even healers for a while, it was hard to get dungeons, and I didn't have a lot of time. I would just play for a few hours in the evening, and you sit there waiting and waiting and waiting. So I just finally said, fuck it, I'll just go run the dungeon myself. And
Yep.
that's how I became good at running dungeons, because I had to figure out how to
Yeah.
do it by myself.
Yeah. Same here. Like well, for me it was different. It wasn't necessarily that I had trouble or that like it was hard for me to find groups because I lucked out. I met a couple of people early on who were running dungeons pretty regularly. But for me, it was a story piece. Like I couldn't like early on, I was just like running content like dungeons and stuff like that. But I never got into the story of the Elder Scrolls Online, and I wanted to because I figured that'd make me more invested in it. So I created another character, which was a Nightblade, for those of you who know the class, and they're really, really good at soloing. They're really, really good, doing shit by themselves. And I've just, figured out how to gear myself and skill wise and stuff to just run stuff, world bosses, dungeons, delves, all that stuff solo.
I think
Because, go ahead.
well, I think they messed up the expectation on that game, because I played it
Yeah.
in the early access when it first came out, and it it was hyped as being Skyrim online,
Mm,
but it really
but it
wasn't.
wasn't.
Right, really
Yeah.
wasn't. So, and
Yeah.
so I played for, I don't know, I probably played for like 3 4 weeks, and then I stopped playing for a long time because it just disillusioned me. I'm like, this is not Skyrim.
It wasn't Skyrim. Yeah, I mean, I think just now with this newest expansion, I think it's called the Golden Road or something. They've finally introduced what canonically is going to be the beginnings of spell crafting that you see in Skyrim. Like and then again, from what I've heard, it seems like they've introduced spell crafting where you can change the cosmetic appearance of certain spells.
For somebody who doesn't play that game, you sure know a lot about
I mean, I pay attention to game news.
it.
I pay attention to game news. Speaking of, one of the OG games made back in 1971, Oregon Trail,
Now,
is actually
has
good.
anybody here actually played Oregon Trail? Like the original DOS version of Oregon Trail? I have.
I have. I remember playing that on the school library computer. Yeah,
Way back in
way
it,
back in the
absolutely.
day. So what was the number one killer of your particular wagon team? Mine was dysentery, almost fucking always. Always fucking dysentery.
Dysentery. You shit yourself to death.
Yep. Always
Fantastic.
fucking dysentery.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
great way to go.
Yeah. And here's the thing, I played it as a kid, so I didn't know what that meant. And then I think I got a little older and I looked it up and I was like, oh, so I shit myself to death. Oh, okay, great. That's good to know. Shit, now I know that was a thing that happened back then, pretty regularly too. Oh man, that must be a rough way to go. But yeah, it is actually being turned into a movie. basically is still in early development with Will Speck and Josh Gordon. They're director and producers respectively. I believe it's going to be on Apple TV and obviously in theaters.
I don't think they decided yet, but it's being produced by Apple, so it definitely will be on Apple TV. But they
Yeah.
haven't decided whether
Yeah.
it's going to go to theaters yet.
Okay. Okay. So I think yeah, I think I misread that then. But yeah, I mean, pretty sure it's probably going to be on Apple TV, especially if they're the one putting shelling out the money for it. But apparently there might Civilization might also be um in the works. So any of you who've played Civilizations, the by Sid Meier, that might be in the works for a live action adaptation. Which that's interesting. I don't know how they're going to do that because I mean it's just going to end up being a history, a period piece show because it's essentially what the civilization is, and takes place in certain periods
I'm
in history.
curious to see what they actually do with that because yeah, I mean, hmm, making a movie out of Civilization, that's kind of
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely weird. So Bioshock adaptation. See that is another game, another horror themed game that I absolutely loved. The Big Daddies and Little Sisters and Rapture and all that. Like that was unnerving, especially playing that as a kid. Um, you know, it that's something that I have noticed. The best designed games and stories don't play into, or rather solely play into the jump scare or the atypical horror tropes. The grisly looking monster and all that. They really play on the psychological aspect of things. They build it's a slow burn to very noticeable and poignant peaks, and then it kind of throttles back down. Um, and it keeps you there. It keeps you kind of all again, like the edge of your seat kind of thing. Oh yeah, absolutely. Masterclass in storytelling. And here's the thing. BioShock 2, BioShock Infinite, like the world just got better as the more stories were told in it. I hope we get to see more BioShock stuff. Um I'm hoping. I don't know if we will, but I'm hoping.
I actually I would like to see them make a Dead Space movie that actually lives up
Oh,
to
that's another one. Can't
yeah.
believe I forgot that one. I actually played that one too. That one, well, there's actually theories that Dead Space, Doom, and I think even Alien and Blade Runner are all in the same universe. Because remember, you remember Wayland Yutani?
Yeah. Yeah.
I believe that company, obviously it exists in Aliens,
Hmm.
so Aliens and Blade Runner, and I think it even exists in the Doom series as well.
Hmm. That is an interesting question.
Could be. I don't know. And again, I think that's prevailing theories. You hope the Bioshock gets the Fallout treatment. I do too. Foxy Project. Do you know who is potentially producing Bioshock? Is it like Amazon? I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon was taking a crack at it. I mean, they have the money for it. Guardian Group. You've never actually played Bioshock. Okay, that's it. That's your homework for this weekend. You're going to play Bioshock, at least the first one. Because that's wild. You have all the games and you've never played it. Shame. You need to go play it. Okay, so who is Bio? All right. So I'm going to look that up. Bioshock. Bio. Okay, so it seems like it's a movie.
What's that?
Bioshock. So it's basically Netflix film adaptation of Bioshock.
I agree
Basically,
100% with that, Foxy. That I think Dead Space would be an amazing adaptation if it's done right. It just depends on they seem to do like even Amazon. I mean, you're looking at the somebody mentioned the Fallout treatment, and
mm,
I think in that case they did a really fantastic job, but all the lore in that is contained more or less in the games. So and it's I mean some of the story in there is pretty crazy. Um so I think it's a maybe easier to do a really good job with that because you're not necessarily sticking to like one storyline because there's so many storylines that are in there. Um
yeah.
and that's where you like if you watch other adaptations of like okay, Wheel of Time. Um I mean they tell a good story with that, but it's not I just don't feel like it's a super good adaptation of the actual story of the series.
Mm,
The what they've done with the Lord of the Rings is, I mean, there's reimagining, and then there's just telling a totally different story. Um,
true.
you know,
Very true. Yeah, like and that's one I mean, and again, not to get too into the weeds with that one. Plenty of people have covered
right,
their thoughts on it. It is one of the things like if you're going to take an established IP, you know, do it justice. Don't try to put your own spin on it or rewrite it or
right.
think you can improve upon it. Please don't. And this might come off mean or whatever. I'm not trying to be, but curb your level of hubris to think that you could write it better than the person that created it. Please.
I agree, 100%.
Please. Don't think you can rewrite it or improve upon it. Like it was the reason why these IPs are so successful is because the person that wrote it did a great job at it. You're not that person. You cannot improve upon it. I promise you.
The
I
sad,
promise.
the sad part about it now is like with Wheel of Time, which is, a very long running series or a books, and a fantastic story all the way through. And people who have never read the books but watched the Amazon show, if you go back and read the books now, you're going to be pretty
You'd be
disillusioned,
confused.
right?
Yeah.
Because they're not paralleled very well at all. So
Yeah, you'll
yeah,
see elements of the Wheel of Time, so you'll kind of get what's going on, but it'll be very very abundantly clear. Like, hold on, wait a minute, what the fuck's this? But yeah, so Foxy Project says you've got to have people adapting the source material that love the source material. That's 100% key to a successful and well received adaptation. Because here's the thing, for folks who are coming into who come from Wheel of Time, who've read the books, we want to see what we read presented in live action. And yes, most of us will accept some small minor tweaks here and there to account for the change in medium, but when you go in and change whole core aspects,
right.
you get the reception that
You destroy the
Wheel of
story.
Time has gotten. Yeah. And then again, that's why Fallout was so well received because they didn't change the core aspect of what made Fallout Fallout. They kept all of that. The
Right.
characters are new, obviously, and there were new interactions, but we knew, that was Fallout. Okay, so you watched that. Actually, this is really great. Great kind of question and answer piece opportunity here. So you didn't know anything about Fallout going in. You watched the show, got interested in the game, and then started playing the game. Okay, so as someone not coming from the game to the show, but vice versa, do you think they did a good job in keeping true to the games and to the world already established through the video games?
I feel bad for her. She never experienced Fallout until after watching the show. But the show is good.
I mean,
So,
I don't necessarily, because again, the show was good and
mhm.
it stayed true to Fallout, at least in my opinion. Obviously, it would have been better for her to play the game than watch the show. Yeah, but I don't think it was as much of a disservice as it would have been like with Wheel of Time. Okay, yeah, yeah, no, yep, you're right. So Fox says I do because there's so much established lore that are explained in the game that I wouldn't catch because of my ADHD. I get that. And here's the thing: not only did they have because I had a primer due to the show, I enjoyed the games more. Yeah, that's a good thing to hear. And I think what helped with that aspect of kind of this particular piece of adaptation is that not only did you have showrunners that respected and appreciated the source material, but you had actors as well. Like you had the lead actress, and you had the actor that played the cadet from the Brotherhood of Steel. I can't remember their names off the top of my head right now, but they played the game. The only person that I think didn't play the game was the guy who played
Ghoul.
um, the Ghoul, which is Walter Goggins. But he's such a fantastic actor. He just did a good job. Like he's just that good of an actor. Like he never played the games. And again, I'm not gonna knock him for it. He's that's not his thing. Playing video games is not his thing.
Right.
But he had enough respect, I feel like, and from what I've seen in interviews and things that he definitely dived into his character and listened. I would be surprised if he just didn't listen
He did
to
nail
the
it.
story pieces from the rest of the crew and really paid attention. um oh yeah, the whole cast did. Again, two at least two of the main actors from the show, again, the guy who played the main character for the Brotherhood of Steel and the main female lead, they both played the games because they wanted to get it right. They didn't have any thing to go off. They didn't know the show, so they knew it was a game, and they played it. And I think they played all of them too. I know the female lead actress. She in an interview I remember listening that she said she played. I think she played three onward, and then she went back and played the earlier ones
Original ones.
afterwards. Yeah.
Another game series that I would love to see made into a good adaptation is the XCOM series. I
Oh,
think
I
that would
remember that.
yeah, I think that would make a really awesome alien style series if done right.
I remember that. And they've had quite a few. I mean, they had the original for the PlayStation. I remember that. I used to watch
Hmm.
my dad play that actually. Didn't know what the fuck was going on, but I used to watch him play it. And then they had one for PC, XCOM 2,
Right.
that I actually have. I've played it. Really good. Really, really good. I think that would be a really cool adaptation if they did it justice. Um, well, yeah. I'm pleasantly surprised at the shows that are kind of getting greenlit. I mean, you got BioShock,
Hmm.
you've got let's see here, and I love Kyle MacLachlan, Dune and Twin Peaks. He was a perfect choice for that character.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm. Let's see what other news that we have going
So
on.
so that all started with Oregon Trail.
Well, I mean, Look, if someone can take Oregon Trail and turn it into a live action,
I'm
I mean, I think you can kind of do anything really at this point.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about the Oregon Trail story. I definitely am curious about that, the movie adaptation of that. But from what I understand, they're also planning on making it into more of a musical style piece, like the Barbie adaptation movie that came out.
Really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's
That
concerning.
changes things.
Yeah, yeah.
um, Now it's gonna go from Oregon Trail to like Little House on the Prairie kind of deal. And yes, I know what that is. Yes, I've seen an episode of it way, way back when I was a kid.
How could you not know what Little House on the Prairie would be? I mean,
I don't know. You trust me? I'm pretty sure if you ask some people nowadays, they wouldn't know what the fuck that was. Or the book
Ravenous.
series
Oh
Green Ann
yes,
Gables.
Ravenous. That would be more. Yeah, I could see
I
that
have never.
Oregon Trail
I
with a
have
ravenous
never.
feel to it. Ooh yeah.
I've never played that game. Please
You,
enlighten me.
you get dysentery because you ate too many people. I mean, I think she's referring to. Yeah, Ravenous, the movie. It's actually a really good movie, by the way. It's
I don't
it's
think
a
I've seen
movie
that
of
movie.
more or less about cannibalism, sort of. It's
Yeah, no, I don't think I've ever seen that movie. Totally underrated
it
movie. Okay,
is.
yeah,
It
no, I'm
is.
gonna have to check that out. God, look, I get some good movie recommendations out of this
You're
one.
you're like getting a
Ravenous.
ton of homework tonight, man.
Oh, apparently, shit, I'm not gonna get no sleep. Because I'm watching a bunch of fucking horror movies and shit. Tomorrow is Halloween, so let's be fair.
That
Oh boy.
so we have one other topic to roll into at least tonight, right? Or did we?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Want to take us in,
we
Greg?
we did the creepy, scary stuff, which I think is fantastic because the psychological piece about playing on your fears, and it really is the
Mm,
sparking emotion, uh, using emotion in
yeah,
games and in media to get people get you into
invested.
and get. Yeah, my cat decided that she wants to be on the stream tonight, so all right, you can sit right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, she's a pain,
Sh-
isn't she? Yes. Well, no, 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 no. Kisses now. Okay. All right. So
Like you're gonna pay attention to me, human.
yeah, that's what she's decided. She's like, it's my time now. You can quit this stuff. Pay attention to me. Would you quit? No.
She's like, no, I love you. Show me love.
Exactly. That's her deal. All right. So the last piece. Well, actually, shoot. I think we did cover it already because we already talked about the Silent Hill piece. But I think there's more to
Mhm.
dive into there.
Okay. Well, has anyone here seen the Silent Hill movie? Because there was a movie.
I have not.
You haven't. Well, Sean Bean's in this one, in the movie. I think he actually survives.
Two movies.
Is there two movies? I just when there was just one.
I think
Oh.
there is two movies actually for Silent Hill.
Oh. So there is Silent Hill.
Let's
There's the one that came out in 2006.
2 hours
That's the one with
long.
Sean Bean. And then where's Return to Silent Hill. No, 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 no.
Silent
Silent Hill
Hill Revelation.
Revelation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2012.
and then apparently there's another one that's supposed to be coming out called Return to Silent.
Ooh.
Yeah. 2025 is set to come out. Interesting. They got Pyramid Head right on screenshot. Good old Pyramid Head.
I will have to watch that one for sure.
Interesting. I didn't know there was a second movie. I'm gonna have to check that one out because I genuinely like the Silent Hill one. I mean, I like the series. I remember playing it back, when it came out for the PlayStation. Oh, Resident Evil. I can't believe we almost forgot about Resident Evil. The Resident Evil games. Oh, anyone here ever played the Resident Evil games? Oh, the nurses were really odd. Oh, those were unnervingly. They moved. The way they moved really freaked me the fuck out.
You know what? I modeled some NPCs in the Sisters of Pain. I actually modeled those somewhat off of those nurses from Silent Hill.
They did, yeah. Unfortunately, Foxy Project. The first movie was okay. It was alright. But then they went completely to complete left turn as the movies progressed.
Whoops. Have you seen the?
Oh, nice. Okay.
Have you seen the short series?
What short series?
There's actually a Resident Evil series on Amazon, I believe. I think it's like 8 episodes. That actually isn't bad. That's pretty good. Any Resident Evil, zombie content, man. Any zombie content that comes out. There's a new indie series called Outside that is I guess it's the version of zombies from India, Pakistan or somewhere.
Okay. Shit, I got a lot of stuff to watch. Apparently.
I'll even watch bad zombie movies even once.
Bad zombie movies at least once. Oh man. Well, obviously we have The Walking Dead. That was turned into a game. Tales of the Walking Dead was not only turned into a game, but also an
RPG.
An RPG, TTRPG app created by none other than Free League Press.
Yes.
Which we still have yet to play, Greg.
Yes, I know.
Play that one.
I know. We have so many.
We have a lot to play. We do have to play that one. Okay. Huh.
I hear you. I could too. Here's the thing: the zombie genre. There are some that are just, in my opinion, done right. And I think, especially the early seasons of The Walking Dead, I think they did a really fantastic job. Season 1 of Fear the Walking Dead, I loved that because it really kind of gave you the lead in to the apocalyptic thing. And I think that's the only show that did a really good job with pre-pandemic and then kind of how it looks going into it, and they did just a fantastic job in season 1 with that. Even that one gets kind of weird as you go later into the series. The Walking Dead series itself, I don't think they did a very good job with that lead-in piece, but they had a good story behind why. So that
you mean the show?
Yeah.
I've only seen the main one. I haven't seen the spin-offs. I might watch them one day.
Some of the spin-offs that they've done now with like the main characters from the Walking Dead series are pretty good. I like the Daryl Dixon one. However, that one's like after season 1's buried behind a paywall, so unfortunately you have to pay for that. unless you have a subscription. Um, the one they did with Negan, um, I like the Negan character, but I think that one was, yeah, it could have been better.
Uh, yeah, I did watch the Daryl Dixon spinoff. I mean, I love Norman Reedus.
Hmm.
He's one of my favorites. He also helps that Norman Reedus is a just a really nice guy.
Yeah,
Um,
he's a good actor too.
I've met him before when I was living back in New York. He's a frequent uh, of Lower East Side Manhattan. Kind of just chills out there. Really, really calm, chill dude. Um, but yeah, I mean, they they've done quite a bit with the Walking Dead series, and a number of horror series, turning them into video games or video games to live action. But one of the things that um, was interesting for me, I know though I never did play it, was the Telltale game series of The Walking Dead, which was more of a narrative focused game aspect
I played
to the game.
the first two
Yeah,
seasons, I think, of that. Yeah,
what'd you think?
yeah, not not bad. Um, it depends on whether you can get into that kind of game or not, because I
Mm,
mean, it is story based, and decisions, and your decisions kind of impact what the story is, but you don't necessarily get to explore or anything like that. And I like the open world games like that. I like to be able to explore my environment, and
yeah,
interact with things. Where that one was just purely the Telltale piece is it's a storyline that you go through, and it backs up to. I mean, it sticks kind of to where the series is at, like with the farm and Herschel Walker, and you know, kind of.
got okay. Well, I mean, again, it's one thing I think a lot of folks have come to understand. It's never a one to one. Um, so you always gotta keep that in mind. There was going to be kind of some liberties taken,
Mm-hmm.
but
I don't like when they just get crazy with the story. Like Fear the Walking Dead for one. Season one was awesome. Season two, when they're out on the boat, I mean, I think they lost a lot of people at that point when they did that. Um,
mm,
and then rolling into season three, they kind of went outside of the U.S. into Mexico, and things got really dark for a while. Um, and then I kind of feel like it just spun off the rails after that. I mean, they did some really good pieces with a resort hotel and stuff like that, but mm, it's kind of like The Walking Dead when they really started focusing more on the interaction between people instead of surviving the zombie apocalypse. When it turned more to here now the survivors are fighting over resources and killing each other. Um, it's good, but it the focus changed, and I don't know, that and tornado zombies. That one just kind of that episode kind of like tornado zombies. Really? Hmm.
you got tornado sharks.
Yeah, yeah. You got shark zombies. You even got zombie beavers. You ever seen that movie?
No,
You're not missing anything.
I'm pretty sure I'm not. But I believe that's everything covered.
Zombie NATO, I believe you are correct, Infinity.
Zombie NATO. Ugh. Oh,
It's
come
like
on, I remember that.
Sharknado. I mean, there's some really
Yeah,
weird stuff out there. But yeah, so the zombie horror, when you look at that, it's it really all starts back in what, late '70s with Night of the Living Dead.
Hmm.
There's zombie stuff before that, but that one really, Romero really kind of kicked off that whole genre at that point. Um, yeah, they're coming to get you, Barbara. Um, and there's been some good content that's come after that, but there's been a whole lot of really like low end B-rated stuff, maybe even C.
Yeah,
That's come in that space. So
but surprisingly, some of that B-rated stuff is actually pretty good.
sadly enough, if Vin Rhames is in it, it probably sucks. Even though I actually like Vin Rhames, but
You're not necessarily wrong. We'll say it doesn't suck. It's just it's not Greg's cup of tea.
there you go. That's better. I'm pretty sure when I do a Walking Dead game, I am gonna have to model a character after him, an NPC.
Yeah, that's almost mandatory at this point.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's most of the movies he's in. Like the zombie related movies. I mean, his character is like the only cool character in the movie. But my opinion. Yeah, you're right. It can be. Even though it's a bad movie, it can still be entertaining. Absolutely. Unfortunately, there's a lot of those out there that, you keep watching it for some reason. You're not really sure why. It's just you get to the end and you're like, okay, why did I watch that? It must have entertained me. All right, so I think we are done with episode 73. Unless,
I think so.
because it was a train wreck, I agree, 100%. Can't turn away from it because it was a train wreck.
Gotta keep watching.
I have that problem for sure. So many movies that I've watched you seriously don't even really remember. Yeah, it's so bad it was entertaining just watching the BS going on. It's like, okay, why did I watch this again?
Look away.
Yes, exactly. I wonder if they can get any more stupid than what I just seen.
Before you know it, an hour and a half has passed, and you're like, why did I just sit here watching this movie for the last hour and a half?
Wait, if you think about it, just backing up a little bit and looking at some of the like late '70s, early '80s stuff, like the Monty Python stuff, which it's very entertaining, but it's just stupid as hell. I mean, but yeah.
Well,
I do.
It's entertaining.
I
to
do,
somebody.
Foxy. I absolutely have faith that they can get more stupid. That's like the never-ending slope that you get on that path, and it's just all downhill. No pun intended. All right, man. I suppose if you want to wrap this up, and we can let everybody get back to their day today. We're on an ad break right now, by the way. So.
Oh, we? Okay, yeah. We'll wait.
We'll wait for a little bit. I wouldn't consider Monty Python stupid. To be honest, I would consider some of it moronic. Okay, all right. I wasn't sure where you were going at first there, Vanity.
What's the difference between stupid and moronic? What's the distinction there?
Well, I see where he's coming from with that, because I mean, stupidity is one thing, and actually stupidity is an insinuation that you just don't know any better. Moronic is more of a deliberate, or you're just being stupid on purpose.
It's stupidity on purpose. Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, you're being stupid on purpose. I'm gonna have to keep that in mind.
Sometimes that stuff is really entertaining. It just takes a particular type, I guess. Monty Python
intentional
did a
stupidity.
really, really good job with that. They really did. I mean, much of that stuff lives in our culture today. So, and there you have it. So, what do we? So, we're working on a Symborum game. Um, for those of you who are interested in GaryCon 2025, which right now I will be there, I will be running part 2 of Beyond the Wall, which is a cyberpunk story. I ran 4 sessions for part 1 this year, 4 4-hour sessions. So there'll be 4 4-hour sessions for part 2 coming at GaryCon 2025. Haven't decided what else I'm going to run there yet. I for a little while I really looked at running Shadowscar. I'm not sure now if I'm going to run that or not. Maybe not. I might run something else instead. And with Chad signing on to be there running games with me, and he's going to run Alien, so I'm looking forward to that because I am actually going to set in those games as a player. So if if you're able to make it to GaryCon and you want to check that out, I'm definitely planning on setting in the Alien games as a player, and I'm quite sure I'll have to wear my red shirt. We'll see.
Mm.
We'll see. I'm sure he's gonna try and kill me off, but
Probably. I wouldn't put it past him.
yeah, do check out the Alien games, Foxy. And Dark Pond does a really fantastic job with it. We've ran 1 or 2 games with him so far in the Alien universe. And by the way, we're going to be running it by the 2nd edition rules. So 2nd edition for Alien will be out at that point in time, and we're going to be running it by the 2nd edition. So a little more expanded story from the 1st edition piece, and it'll be interesting. Yeah. The Cyberpunk games are actually going to be incorporating the mission kit piece in there, so that'll be very awesome. I gotta do a little figuring out with that because the original story concept was created based on Red, so gotta kind of expand the story a little bit and figure out the change piece to it. I don't know. I might run like a couple one-shots to The Walking Dead.
Okay.
That might be the way I go with that. Just to give people, I know last year I added in The Witcher, and that was more or less just what I ended up doing is teaching people about the game more than anything else. I mean, we had a lot of fun, but it was more teaching people about the game, how the mechanics work, how the story works, and then how you can parallel that with the expectation that's set by the movies when it comes to The Witcher. And I think I might try the same thing with The Walking Dead because I would really like to put together some story for that. Alien is just a fun game. I love it. A lot of people complain about the panic system. I think the the panic system just adds that extra element. It is more cinematic in that case. It does tend to take a little bit away from player agency for people who are hardcore role players. But I like it. I think it just adds that extra element, and it challenges you as a player because it's you actually have to role play your character based on outside elements that are things that are happening to you. And I like that personally. That's how I typically choose to be a player, is to have my character actually react to the things that are going on around them, not from, not from a standpoint of what's in my head canon of the player, but how do I really think this player, this person would react to this environment or what's going on. um, and we can have some really interesting results with that. I mean, take Zara for instance. I mean, a character I have that for all intents and purposes everyone thinks she's evil, and she's not.
She's just
She's Zara. I mean,
misunderstood.
misunderstood. There you go. Yes. You know what? I agree with you, Foxy. I think it does feel more immersive with the panic system, but again, it does take a little of that player agency piece away. Um, and that's probably the biggest complaint that I've heard from anybody, is that the panic system takes the player agency, because you have things you want to do, but then the panic system says no, you got to do this. You just got to roll with it. You got to figure out what would your character do in this situation. Maybe you don't get to do the thing that you really wanted to do because you have to do this, or the challenge then becomes, how do you RP this situation based on what is going on with the panic system and still be able to get to the point that you want to get to. I agree 100%. You don't know how you would react. So, and that's what the dice are there for. That's what the dice, they add that element of randomness in for you. I understanding, I can look at this from a couple of different worlds. For several years, we created, Rob and I and a couple of other folks created content for an online RP community. And that was not the same type of role playing as you do with the TTRPG, because you're not rolling dice or anything like that. It's completely theater of the mind, completely. And that's different. It's very different. And people who, that's their role playing experience, it's a lot of fun to jump over to TTRPGs, but there's a very big difference between those two things, and it takes a little bit to wrap your mind around the idea that now I'm not in complete control of this story because I have to roll dice, and the dice may say that I miss or I fail, where it's not just me that's creating that story in my own head and telling it. So from a writing standpoint, when it comes to just creating a story, like writing a book, absolutely, that theater of the mind piece and being able to create that story entirely on your own without the randomness of the dice, great. But when you're sitting at a table playing with other players, the dice add that element. It kind of levels out the story for you, because you're not just gonna. It's very difficult for a person to. And now I forget what the terminology is for it, but God mode basically.
Metagame.
Yeah, metagaming. It balances that out because the dice are the equalizer. And some people struggle with that. They would rather be able to metagame and tell the story the way they want that story to go in their own head. And the unfortunate part is, when you're playing with other people or telling a collaborative story, you got to be a little bit more concerned about how your story is going to impact the other people's stories as well. So I see lots of comments. Don't know how you react to the dice. Yes, the dice. Yeah, they do. Absolutely. Level out that playing field. It does. The panic system definitely gives you an element of randomness. It because so the idea behind that is that it really kind of puts you in the space of if this character was a character in the movies, more or less, in that world. Um, and how would you? I mean, none of us knows how we would react to an 8 foot tall lizard looking alien with acid skin that wants to bust your head open with its second set of jaws and or
Mm.
impregnate you with one of their offspring.
They'll
And
spawn. Yep.
yeah, I
Yep.
mean, we can talk tough and oh yeah, well I just whatever.
I'll be scared shitless. I ain't even gonna fucking lie. I'd be scared shitless.
I definitely would not be the one going to try to fight the damn thing. Be like, nah, you just leave it alone. If it is on this
No.
planet, I'm getting the fuck off this planet.
Yeah. Nah, fuck that. We nuking everything. I don't give a fuck if there's one of them. We just nuking all of it. Nuke the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
Call it quits.
What is the there's one character in the Aliens movie, the one Marine, um oh, what is his name? Bill.
I think so.
Well, that's the actor's name. I can't remember his last name. He passed away. Um Bill Paxton. Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay.
His
Yeah, yeah.
his character. I quite sure that would be me. Maybe not freaking out quite that level. I don't know, maybe. Who knows? But yeah. Yeah. I would be that guy. Pretty sure. At least until the initial thought kicked in that you know what, we're just all screwed. Then I'd just be like, all right, well, fuck it. I'm just gonna go see how much damage I can do at this point. Maybe I can take a couple of them down with me.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. I remember those things randomly. It's not like I can just recall that. It will randomly come to me, or suddenly I'll remember Bill Paxton or some obscure character from some movie that I watched 30 years ago. Yeah. All right, guys. I'll quit rambling on, and we can close this thing out.
Uh,
So thank you everybody for being here tonight, coming in and visiting with us, and getting into happy Halloween, everyone. Yes, have a great Halloween.
Happy
Um,
Halloween. Do we have anything to home
well,
housekeeping?
next Thursday, we are planning to do book 6 of the Wheel of Time.
Yes.
Um, and we're probably going to add some more content in beyond that. Just not sure what yet. And as we go through the holidays, I mean, it really just it kind of depends on
Depends.
where things.
Also,
Yeah, good.
if you guys have book recommendations, feel free to toss them out.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's so much good content out there that we could go through. I at some point here, I do want to start kind of going through some of the older issues of like Dragon magazine.
Yeah, that's right. You have a Burgoyning collection
Yes,
of them.
yes. I have all but
How many do you
90.
have now?
I have all but 92 of them. So out of the 359, I have all but 92. So, and
Yep.
still
Okay.
collecting, still going. You wanted Stormlight Archive books. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Those are by Brandon Sanderson. He actually came out with a TTRPG
He did.
on Kickstarter. I don't know if you knew that, Guardian Group, but yep, he came out with a TTRPG related or taking place in the Cosmere, as his universe is called. And it Kickstarter, I think he grossed almost $15 million. I
Yeah.
think that was the largest.
Was a ridiculous amount, but yeah.
As the largest Kickstarter in history for that particular category.
Princess Bride
What?
TTRPG. No, I have not.
Princess Bride TTRPG? What? There's a fucking TTRPG for everything.
Yeah, literally, there is. There's some weird TTRPGs out there.
I do have to get into reading the Stormlight Archives and Brandon. I do have the one series that I have from Brandon Sanderson is the Mistborn series. I read, I think, the first book and then put it down. Never picked it back up. I have to pick it back up. So
I want to do the Dark Sword trilogy. That's one I haven't read that in a long time, but I really love that.
Dark Sword trilogy.
Yeah.
Why does that name ring a bell?
You're gonna have to look it up.
Right up. No.
Yeah, that is a fantastic. It's a combination of blending of worlds, where you have a confrontation between. I'll give you a really high level view of it. You have a confrontation between a more fantastical magic using world and a more modern, like our world.
Oh, no wonder.
Yeah.
It was written by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, the creators of Dragonlance.
And that's a fantastic series, by the way. Hey, the Dragonlance series. I mean, might not be a bad idea to do something on that as well. There's so much material out there. I have a bunch of like zombie apocalypse books too. We could always do something with that. I might have to get Foxy to come on with me to do that though. Talking about zombies. All right, let's roll. Thank you guys very much for being here tonight. We will see you next Wednesday night. And do try to make Thursday night as well so we can have a nice conversation about Book 6, Lord of Chaos, the Wheel of Time series. Book 6 actually is kind of a turning point. See you next week, Groot. Thank you very much for being here tonight.
Yep.
So Book 6 is really a turning point in that series where, some of the main characters really start to come into who they are, realize who they are. And the battles get bigger. You start meeting a lot of the big bad guys. It's awesome. It's really good stuff. Got anything to sign off with there, buddy?
Sorry, I got distracted looking up the Dark Sword trilogy. Episode 74 will be next Wednesday at same time, 8 p.m. EST. And we'll see what we're going to get up to. We'll see what other theme discussion we could have. If you guys have anything that you guys want to discuss, feel free to drop it in our Discord. If you haven't followed us there, please do, or follow us on our socials, which are X, TikTok, YouTube. But yeah, if you guys have a particular topic of conversation you want to see us kind of dive into, related to pretty much anything at this point, because we kind of discuss all things on the update log.
We do.
Yeah, let us know. Well, you guys have a good night. And that's it from us, episode 73.
Awesome. I think we're gonna raid into Stormy D. He is on tonight. So if you're not familiar with him, stick around for a bit, check things out, show him some love. Thank you very much. Have a good night.